The Beginning of the End, Vodcast 6, World War I. The aims of this podcast are for students to be able to analyze the collapse of the Central Powers and to explain the legacy of World War I. The Beginning of the End. As presented in Vodcast 5, World War I became a global conflict. With the U.S. entry in 1917, the war was at the beginning of the end. Russia withdraws. Civil unrest due to war-related shortages of food and fuel occurs in Russia. Tsar Nicholas was forced to step down. The new government promises to continue to fight. However, Russian army refused to fight any longer. November 1917, a revolution takes place in Russia. Communist leader Vladimir Lenin seizes power. Lenin signs the Brest-Litovsk Treaty with Germany in March 1918. This ends the war between them. German advance to the Western Front. With Russia's withdrawal, Germany sent all troops to the Western Front. German forces crushed everything in their path and reached the Marne River. Victory seemed within reach. However, the German army had weakened. The Allies had fresh U.S. troops. The Second Battle of Marne. The Allies launched a counterattack in July 1918. The Allies and Germans clashed at the Second Battle of Marne. Leading the attack were 350 tanks smashing through German lines. With the arrival of 2 million U.S. soldiers, the Allied forces began to steadily advance forward. Collapse of the Central Powers. The Bulgarians and the Ottoman Turks surrender. In October, a revolution sweeps through Austria-Hungary. In Germany, soldiers mutiny and the public turns against the Kaiser. Collapse of the Central Powers. On November 9, 1918, Kaiser Wilhelm II steps down. The new German government meets with the French and signs an armistice. November 11, 1918, World War I comes to an end. Legacy of World War I. New technologies were developed. It was the first global war. Tremendous price paid in human life. 8.5 million soldiers died, 21 million wounded. Many civilians were killed. In essence, an entire generation was destroyed. Legacy of World War I continued. World War I had a devastating economic impact. The treasuries were drained of the major European countries. It is estimated the war cost $338 billion. Farmland, homes, villages, and towns were destroyed. In addition, a sense of disillusionment settled over the survivors. They felt insecurity and despair. This concludes The Beginning of the End, Vodcast 6, World War I. To recap, the aims of this vodcast were for students to be able to analyze the collapse of the Central Powers and for students to explain the legacy of World War I.